Senator Blackburn, good to speak with you. She joins us by phone from D.C. Senator, good to have you.
It is good to be with you. Thank you.
I wanted to get your opinion on this trip that DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas made to the border. He was in the RGV sector. And I'm just really curious as to what you think, because the timing to me, it seemed like it was theater. And he's kind of trying to get ahead a little bit of the 23rd, the Article 42 being lifted just next week. And this is on the heels of numbers coming out for how April, there were more apprehensions in April. I think the highest number in the entire history of the agency of DHS in 22 years. What did you think that this was a genuine good show? Because it just seems that he went down there and they had this, this expulsion flight. They did some theater, but what are they actually going to do with personnel and resources? I mean, what are they going to do to help Border Patrol deal with this, 42 being lifted? Because 23rd, I mean, just next week, these numbers are going to be even higher.
Dana, when you look at the mistakes that this administration is making, first of all, they don't address problems. They wait for something to become a crisis. They try to tell you that what you're seeing is not what you're seeing and what you're hearing is not true. Now, that is their modus operandi. That's how they approach it all. And I honestly think they thought he was going to go down there and they were going to say, no problem, we've got this under control. See, the border is under control. And he gets down there and they find a 600-yard long, I think it was, tunnel they're using for drugs. They have thousands of illegal immigrants coming across the Rio Grande. We've all seen the footage of them just lined up and walking through that water. The cartels have all of these people. Cartels are global organizations. Mm-hmm. Last year, there were people from 160 different countries that came to our southern border to illegally enter our country.
Yeah.
We know this. And I think that what he ended up doing was drawing attention to how out of control this border is. So I think it backfired on him.
It sounds like it. We're talking to Senator Marsha Blackburn. It sounds like it did backfire on him because, I mean, if they already had a record number of apprehensions in April, I've heard everything from it could be double, it could be triple. And it too is also weird because he told border agents, "Oh, we're going to get you help for controlling the border." Well, where was this?
Yeah.
Where was this offer? Because there have been all these border state governors that have been asking the same thing. He goes down there now and offers this.
Well, he goes down there saying that, but like I said, the whole thing kind of blows up, and there's the tunnel. Yeah. And you've got all these people coming across. Right now with Title 42 in place, you have 6,000 people a day presenting at the southern border. They estimate that it is going to be 18,000 people per day.
Oh, my gosh.
18,000. Now, Tennessee has 345 towns. 90% of those towns are 18,000 or fewer citizens. So it is the equivalent of a typical Tennessee town coming across that southern border every single day. California, it would be the cities with a population of 18,000 or less. In California, 76.8% of their cities. Nevada, 86.5%. Arizona, 90.8%. Colorado, 91.1%. Illinois, 90.3%. Georgia, 90.5%. New York, 91.7%. So think of it, for your listeners, think of it in that vein. How many cities in your state have a population of 18,000 or less? Yeah. Look at that city. It is the equivalent of the population of that city. that is the numbers of people that are going to be presenting, that they expect will present to illegally enter the United States. Now, part of the problem with this is we know that terrorists also presented last year at the southern border. You had about 40 of them that their names were on the terrorist watch list. We also know from some of the analytics from Border Patrol that they had a minimum of 750,000 gotaways last year. 750,000, that's the minimum. On top of the 2 million that they apprehended, add to it a minimum of another 750,000 of known gotaways.
Wow.
People they could see on surveillance, but they couldn't find them. It's probably closer to 1 million or more. It could be double that.
So essentially, the border's open.
The border is open. Yes, and that is of tremendous concern to me. When I hear those numbers have got away, our Border Patrol, God bless them for staying at their job, and I am greatly appreciative of their efforts. They're doing the best that they can. And if you take away Title 42, if you do not have remain in Mexico, if you have these cartels who have people lined up ready to start flooding across that border next week, honestly, I don't know how the Border Patrol is going to handle it.
We're talking with Senator Marsha Blackburn. And Senator, you were one of the lawmakers who was in opposition to this Ukraine bill, the $40 billion of funding to Ukraine. And I don't think a lot of people realize how a lot of this is also for State Department, other agencies, international organizations. $190 million for State Department's diplomatic programs, $150 million for global agriculture and food security. We're dealing with a baby formula shortage here, and we're giving $150 million to some global agriculture group. There's some $54 million additionally to the CDC. It's supposed to be some sort of bilateral assistance to Ukraine. Talk to us a little bit about this, because this is not just about, it sounds like a slush fund, honestly.
Well, and that was my concern. First of all, there were no accountability metrics that were on this funding. We want to know who the money is going to, when the money is going to be released. There's still money in the pipeline that has not been used for Ukraine. And we've had a terrible time figuring out when that money was going. I support the Ukrainian people and what they're doing in defending their country, and I want to make certain they have everything they need to defend their country. But Dana, as you laid out, there is a portion of this, which I'm all for. I would vote for what is going into military assistance. Where I did have questions and why I voted no was because there were no controls or accountability measures. There was money in there to go to the State Department and to different non-governmental agencies and USAID, things that really had nothing to do with the fight in Ukraine. There was money in there for the Ukrainian government for pensions and things of that nature. We need to be focused on helping the Army with what they need to defend themselves and carry this out. There was $110 million in there to rebuild the U.S. Embassy. We don't need to be doing that right now. What we need to do is be sure Ukraine has what they need to defend themselves. And I just had a problem with another $40 billion that was going, didn't have the accountability or the controls. And what we need to do is make certain we're putting money into securing the southern border. We do have the baby formula issue. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
I got two quick things to ask you, talking with Senator Marsha Blackburn. I appreciate your time with us. We got about 2 minutes left, but I wanted to ask you really quickly as well. First off, the formula shortage. hearing that it may not be till next month before the Abbott facility is up and running, and that all seems to be at the discretion of the FDA and government agencies. What do we know about that? Is that, I mean, could we, or is there any effort underway by the administration to stop cracking down on imports from Europe?
I've said we need an Operation Warp Speed, and we need it now.
Yes.
And we need it on baby formula. The FDA needs to get that plant with Abbott open immediately. Let Abbott move forward opening that plant. And then the FDA and USTR need to waive the restrictions on baby formula coming from Canada, the EU, and the UK, and get that into our supply chain immediately. You know, those are two things they could do today. Mm-hmm. They could have done them last week. They could have done them 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. They knew about this issue last fall. They didn't do anything. They say they started working on this in February, but so far there has not been a deliverable that we can point to and say this is what is going to help.
Right, right. Last quick question for you, Senator Blackburn. The Disinformation Board came out today. The woman that was supposed to head this has apparently stepped away from it, Nina Jankowicz, and we're hearing that the administration paused this insane board that was about censorship. You say, which I agree with, pausing is not enough. It needs to be permanently shut down. No oversight. We don't even know who's all on this board except for the woman who was running it, apparently. Can we get, like, I guess, confirmation from lawmakers that y'all got this shut down? This was crazy. This is very Orwellian.
It is Orwellian, and we are trying to get them to completely shut this down and give up this issue. Dana, the deal is they felt like, and we are going to put restrictions on social media. We're putting in place legislation. They have seen the hearings that we have held. They know that this is coming, so they don't want to give up that control. They have to be able to control the message or they will not win. So they decided they would put this board together, and the board would tell big tech what they could and could not say.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we are appreciative of your efforts on this. Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, always appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching out for the American taxpayer, too, with that $40 billion slush fund there. We appreciate your time. Thank you.